Hi there, these comments are for BS, and I am Michael, the founder, owner, and the materials writer for all of the lessons at OnlineTOEFLCourse.com. And you're one of my 7-step students. My online TOEFL course is a 7-step system to pass a TOEFL IBT, right? And you completed the diagnostic test for lesson number 25. So you already did the first pretest, and you're doing the second pretest to see what problems you might have with syllable division, grammatical word endings, word stress, sentence rhythm, intonation, and thought groups and blending. And this comprises all the important areas of your pronunciation of American English, right? So if you do well in all these areas and you're pronouncing your consonants and your vowel sounds accurately and clearly, then your pronunciation is native speaker, right? So I listened to you actually read all of the different lessons, right? And then I also listened to you respond to these three particular questions. So I had, good grief, over 10 minutes of audio that I was able to listen to, and that tells me a lot of information about your pronunciation, right? So here's what I think you can focus on right now. So let's take a look at each of these. I think there's one lesson, a previous lesson with consonant sounds you haven't mastered yet. The problem came up again as I was listening to you answer those speaking tasks. It's Speak Clearly lesson number 24, the T8 sound. You're still having trouble with that voiced and voiceless interdental consonant. So you still need to study that. Okay, so let's get started with this. So based on what you did, I think you need to focus a lot on lesson number 28, particularly the S. Sometimes the S is a Z sound, sometimes the S is an S sound. You pronounce it more as an S in both cases. So when you study that lesson, pay attention to that. Also, lesson number 29, I think you need to focus on that one a little bit with word stress. Lesson 30, you had problems especially with myself and themselves, and also numbers of teen and 10. 13 and 30, you're not pronouncing those numbers correctly either. Lesson 31, again, this is problems with word stress. Lesson 32, problems with word stress of academic words, college words. So you need to study that. Lesson 33, you need to study sentence rhythm. Lesson 34 also is sentence rhythm. And the main thing that you want to remember with sentence rhythm is we don't put even stress on every word in a sentence. We put more stress on the content words and less stress on the function words. That's what you want to remember there. Also, lesson number 35, you had some problems here, especially with can and can't, the positive and the negative. In these cases, it's not about the T, it's about stress. For example, Sue can go to the store, Sue can't go to the store. So you're not quite pronouncing those clearly. You need to focus on that lesson. Also, lesson number 36, this is more intonation. And the same thing with lesson 37, you need to focus on that one. Lesson 38 is more, you need more practice with intonation. Lesson 39, the same thing. You need practice with intonation, especially with emphatic expressions of surprise. That's where you can do better. Lesson 41, I think you can do better with what we call thought groups. When you get to the end of the thought group, your tone needs to fall. If you're not done with a thought group, your tone rises slightly. You need to work on that a little bit. I think lesson 42, you need more practice with thought groups and blending, and then 43 and also 44. So you got a lot of problems, to be honest, right? But you wouldn't be taking my course if you didn't. So as you go through these practice lessons, remember that you can send me pronunciation practice for feedback, and I will actually give you feedback on how well I think you've mastered the pronunciation in that particular lesson. So here's my basic rule. You can send me 60 seconds of speaking or pronunciation practice every 24 hours. You can do that. No joke. Now, if you want more feedback and more practice, then you can take my TOEFL private lessons for 1 hour, and I'll be more than happy to help you there as well. Okay? And also, you talked, when you answered the first question, you talked about visiting at your brother's house away from the capital of Bangladesh, which is pretty far away, right? You also talked about cooking being your favorite hobby, and you talked about traffic congestion as being the one thing you'd like to change about your country. So I think that as you're doing this speaking and you're answering those questions, I think that you're getting clearer, you're doing better than when you did the first pretest, but still I'm having considerable issues with your intelligibility. So that's why you want to keep practicing. So as you go through each of these videos, remember, read out loud with me as you practice what I'm teaching in those videos. That's the whole purpose of doing the accent reduction practice. You have to read out loud with me and practice the sounds in the lesson. And practice those videos, those video lessons, several times until you can pronounce everything exactly at the same pace with me, the same rhythm, the same tone, the same blending, and so on. Alrighty? And thank you for doing this second pretest. So now what? You go through those recommended lessons, then when you're ready, you can do that final pronunciation post-test, and I will give you an intelligibility score at that point. All right? And thank you very much. And keep up the good work. I know that I'm giving you a lot of feedback, and it can be stressful. I'm telling you about all these things that you need to fix. But remember, as you fix these pronunciation problems one by one, right, you're going to get better. And your overall intelligibility will get better. And guess what happens with your TOEFL score? It's going to go up. So just be patient, keep following my suggestions, and you will continue to get better.